are used already. Each evening we're having a brief meeting on Facebook where we make the introduction of this process, and we talk a little bit about the theme of tonight. And if you want to continue with this, you can join us on the link that is in the description of the video. There you can join the whole process, which is 8 days of beautiful sharing that we do together, 8 days of powerful meditation, eight days of uplifting the frequency, and of sharing methods and insights on how to keep your pranic flow stable throughout your life. In this process, we're following or aiming at raising our consciousness. It's the final goal of it is not the permanent ceasing of the eating process. So many people that I've interviewed and many people that I've been with in my pranic journeys and in the festivals and events that I've participated in and organized are not people that have ceased to eat and never touched food again. There are people that have had the pranic experience and are having the consciousness of how to be in this pranic state, and yet they are free to still taste physical food if they want to, and I'm one of them. So even though I know how the body feels with being on prana, and I know how it feels to be nourished by source, and I fully trust that source is nourishing us, I still have the freedom, if I want to or if I'm guided to, especially because I no longer necessarily want anything, if I'm guided to, I can still taste stuff, and that makes the life juicy, and then that makes it beautiful. And the freedom is the most important thing to have, actually. If you're in a concept of either eating or not eating, of being spiritual or being this or being that, you're still caught in a frame, you're still in a box, you're still not free. The freedom is when we can navigate through all states, we can navigate through all ways of being, and we can navigate through all areas of or levels of consciousness and still stay stable in our true self, in our hearts. And that's the aim or the purpose of this process. So it's an 8 days training where we share various methods that I've practiced and that Ascended Masters have recommended, and then my colleagues have also practiced, that keeps us in a high frequency, a high vibration, and a constant pranic flow. And in this pranic flow, you can choose to either cease your food intake or continue to taste something now and then, or adjust your rhythm according to the social rhythms that you're in, according to your family gatherings, according to whatever you need to do in this world also. Because I'm going to tell you a secret now, which probably has been, told to you by others as well, that we don't have a goal in being pranic. This is not a goal. This is a blueprint. This is something you're born with. This is something you've done before. This is something you've had in your previous lifetimes as well. And this is why those of you who are interested in this are called to follow this path, or be interested, learn about it, and so on. Because you know to your core that this is true, because you've had this experience before, you've manifested this state before, you've experienced it before, and in this lifetime you might or might not need to do it again, but you're called to it because it's like flowing through your blood, it's flowing through your energy stream, and it's your natural state. However, if it's not in your blueprint to be fully pranic in this lifestyle, if you have chosen a life that might be, more social, or where you need to raise a family and be in a certain vibrational state in that family, or you need to, like I do, bridge spirituality and science and various other levels of consciousness all together into unity, it might be necessary that in this lifetime you don't cease eating or drinking altogether. It might be necessary that you play with frequencies, and be a while on prana, and then a while on juices, and then a while on vegan food, and then back on prana, according to what you have to do. And that's also pranic lifestyle. That does not exclude the fact that you are nourished by prana, that you are connected to source, that you are in a pranic flow. So I want to demystify, first and foremost, the myths about what pranic nourishment is and what being pranic is. And even colleagues of mine and friends of mine who have been many years without food and liquid, like Victor Truviano, Olga Prodorovskaya, have gone back to liquids when it was necessary for them to be more social, or to attend more events, or to maybe, how to say, adjust their frequency to the city life, because it's very different when you live in a forest, like Victor has done for many years. And then when you're in the city, it might be a little, you might need to be adjusting your frequency a little bit. Not that the city disturbs you, but it's easier to integrate, or to blend in the frequency of the city without you disturbing or impacting the fields too strongly, because some people in the city are not maybe all prepared to have you there. And that's also something very important to know. That is not only about how the environment is impacting you, or oh, this is too dense, and this is to this, and this is to that, and I can be there and I cannot be in the other side, and so on. It's also about how you are impacting the environment. And this is something that not so many people, if any, are talking about, especially in pranic world. Is it really that in a certain environment you are meant to be fully pranic? Or is it better in that specific environment that you need to bridge with, or to bring a frequency in, you might take a glass of water, or a bowl of soup? I will tell you a story to exemplify this. And because during my life, I've been knowing for 10 years of this reality, and I've migrated from omnivorous to vegetarian to vegan to juices and so on. And I've had times when I couldn't swallow any liquids even, and I had this pranic state, imbued in my veins. I've felt how it feels to not only not need, but not even tolerate external nourishment in certain moments. And I'm still getting into those states, and in those states I can't even look at water, it seems dense. But I also have states and moments where I can eat fries without having any problem. If it's necessary to talk to someone that is, or to bridge certain frequencies, I just do it, and my body feels nothing. So I've learned and trained my body to adjust, from invisibility to visibility, from being present in one place to being present in several places at the time, from, being unidimensional to being multidimensional, and so on. Because I want to, I feel I am limitless, and I know I am limitless, and I have this possibility, and why not practice it? And I was, to get to the point, because I don't want to expand too much of this conversation, I was in US, invited to give a speech at the Resonance Academy last summer. And I was, hi Neta, so happy to see you here. Hopefully we'll see you in the process soon. I was there, and I was mostly in this pranic state. The first few days, the maximum I could take was some turmeric ginger drink that they had, there at the cafe. It was something that I would dilute with water, and it would give me a sense of, tuning into to what was going on there. But I noticed that because everybody else was having breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and I was the only one in the gathering that was sitting at a table with a cup in my hand, that people would instantly go when whatever table I would choose. And there were people that loved me, and old friends, and people who knew me for a long time, and people who were new to me. But all of them would go into some sort of silence or awkwardness when I would sit down and sit for half an hour with uh, just a drink. They wouldn't ask me anything. They wouldn't make any comments, but they were like sitting like in a church, or being very silent. I would feel that my frequency or my presence was shifting a little bit the whole uh, the whole gathering, and we weren't really able to relate very much at the same time. Some of them weren't really interested, or weren't interested at all in pranic nourishment. They were doing their things. They were in science. They were in astrophysics. They were in various other topics that were interesting to them. So there wasn't a bridge between us at that moment. And I wasn't feeling bad about it, because I like to sit in silence at a table and just watch and listen. I don't necessarily need attention. But I was told or guided, like, you're not here to be withdrawn. You're not here to be to separate yourself. You're here to blend. You're here to bring something that the others can relate to, and to bridge it with them. That's what my inner guidance has said. And I asked, how do I do this? What should I do? Okay, I said, I'm giving a conference tomorrow. Everyone can hear about it if they're interested. And my inner guidance say, no, you have to blend. And I'm like, what does blending mean? How do I blend? I mean, what should I do? And I was guided towards the stand where all the food was, and there were piles of very good food there, and most of it vegetarian, because there were really conscious people at the gathering. But I wasn't feeling the need of tasting anything, and I wasn't even happy to choose anything. I mean, I wasn't tempted at anything. And I was guided towards a stand that had some big pots, and I was hearing the word soup. So there was one of the soups was much lighter, was something made of vegetables, or I don't even remember. There was a clear soup like this, and I was guided to like take half a spoon, half a, that spoon for soup. I don't know how to call it in English. To take half of it and put it in a bowl, and add lemon and add water, and drink that thing during the lunch with a spoon, like as if I was eating something. And I did it, and I didn't say no, because my body wouldn't contract. When I'm not meant to take something, my body would contract if I take it from the shelf. But at that thing, since I was exactly guided the combination, I just took it and I drank it, or ate it with a spoon like this. And I noticed that when I sat at the same table with that thing in front of me, and when people noticed me eating, or at least that's what it seemed I was doing, uh, they suddenly started to relax. Also, my vibration was more relaxed, more not relaxed, more gentle, more normal, more human, so to speak. It sweetens when I take something that is warm and that is you know, even, yeah, soup helps a lot. I usually take miso at home. And in the presence of that specific vibration, they could relax and they could start conversations, and they could even ask questions about how this pranic nourishment works and what do you do and how do you integrate. And then we finally blended. So that was the blending that I was told about. And then the next few days, they kept seeing me, you know, choosing very, very light things like that, like some tea with some herbs in it, or some soup with a little lemon in it, or whatever combination I would do that I was guided to, you know, mostly drinking. Um, it was perfect for everyone. And then more people came to the conference because they could relate, like, okay, so it's something that is doable, it's something that is mild, it's something that is organic, it's not something that just completely takes you out of this world. And you know, they could frame it in their heads in a way that was acceptable for them. And it became interesting, and it became, like I said, relatable. So that's why I'm again saying that in this lifetime, it might not be for you to completely withdraw from society or completely withdraw from taking something. And if that's your path, then you might have an important mission that involves groups or certain people or even your family that, you know, you need to keep a certain vibration with them. And in that state, and probably somebody in the gathering is getting goosebumps as we speak, because I feel I'm talking for somebody in a specific way. And you can type yes in the comments if it's you. I would love to hear that. If it's the case for you, then it's not necessary to beat yourself up, or to feel guilty, or to feel unworthy, or to feel inappropriate if you've been on prana for a month or two, or I don't know how much, and then you've chosen to taste something from time to time, or to take a soup from time to time, or to take some vegan food from time to time. And if that feels okay with your body, and if that feels okay with the whole thing, and if it's only your mind that is trying to resist it, then maybe it would be better to not trust your mind that much and to let it go. And to accept and integrate and you know, um, how to say this, embody what you need to be at the moment without aiming for a goal, again, like I said last night. So if somebody resonates with this, I would love to hear your comments or takes on it. I feel to some it is very useful that I say this, because the paradigms in the breatharian world, in the pranic world, are sometimes very harsh. And it's like food is a drug, you shouldn't touch it, when you've done a process you should be fully on prana, this and that. And you know, it's a little far-fetched to say the least, and it's a little extreme to say the least. And yes, there are people who are in the state of not taking food and not taking water, but it took a while. I mean, it took some practice. Like, if I'm looking at Elitom, one of my best friends, he's been gradually moving into prana for some years, and he's been sharing about his cravings about avocado, and you know, binging in the fridge, and all the stuff, you know, that we all did. Like, what the heck? And then he moved into being solely on liquids. And last time we met in India 2 years ago, he was on liquids, and you know, vegan or non-vegan liquids. And then for 2 years after that journey, he moved into being free from liquids as well. So now he's playing with the dry state where he's not drinking. And but after 15 years of being on prana, he moved into that state. And in these 15 years, he has daily practiced. I was sensing it for you. Thank you for confirming. You were coming to my mind. Your notes. Thank you. And probably there's others too. But going back to Elitom, in these 15 years, He has constantly practiced. Like that guy has not stopped. Every day qigong, every day meditation, every day sharing with people, which is also a spiritual practice because you're doing your dharma or your mission. Every day, every day, every day practice, you know. And for me, it's the same. I started as a kid to meditate. I practice every day as a kid. I stopped for 10 years. And 10 years ago, when I started, I never had one day until today, not one day, I promise you, without meditation. I cannot function if I don't meditate. I don't know what to do in this world without meditation. Like, I wake up in the morning, and if I don't meditate and get guidance, I don't go out the door, or don't even, get out of my bed, because what's the next step, And when you're in this state and when you're in autopilot, like not doing things from your mind, you can't do the next step unless it comes to you. you know, it must come to you. You must be guided what the next step is. Otherwise, you don't know what to do, And there are days where honestly I just lay my body down, and it feels totally natural to just lay there or in my hammock or somewhere, because there's no necessity to do anything else. And when something else is necessary to be done, my body naturally moves towards that thing, either the computer to write a message, or the phone that is ringing right after, or something like this. And that's living in communion, that's living in divine guidance, or in connection with your true self. You don't do anything from the state of must, from the state of I should. I cannot, I don't say I hate, but I don't like the should. When I hear the should, like I should be on pranamide now, I should do this and that, I should. That's such pressure, and that's such burden. Yeah, somebody is on the should mode listening now. That's such a burden, that's such a pressure for yourself and for your spirit. Your spirit can't do its job because you're in the should mode, and you're not letting things flow. You're shoulding all day long. And so let's leave the should aside, and hello Heather. let's let's leave the should aside then. I get a big smile on Zoom over for this should thing. Let's leave the should aside and just be. The being thing that everybody that's been through a spiritual journey and got it. Everybody's talking about the be thing. Like, this thing only occurs when you stay centered in yourself, and this centering into yourself is usually done through meditation. Sometimes walking in nature helps, sometimes listening to music helps, sometimes even watching a good movie that totally relaxes your mind helps. But meditation is crucial. And I haven't stressed too much on it in the first webinar. I just touched on it, and I said all the Ascended Masters are recommending it. Today, it seems meditation comes up first, because there's so many people, and I'm saying this without judging, of course, but I'm just reminding you, there's so many people who finish a process, and no, they start a process maybe without even having had any preparation before, without any detox, without any spiritual practice, or maybe they've done meditation every once in a while, or one retreat once in a while, but they haven't been diligent in their work at home, or in their spiritual path at home. So they jump straight into a process, and if it's the 21 day, like, it's, oh my god, it's so heavy for the body, so difficult for the mind, and extremely difficult for the emotional, because no cleaning has been done, and you're just jumping, like it's like jumping in ice cold water with your clothes on. You can't really swim, the clothes are gonna stick to your body, and you can't easily get out if the ice is there. So if you had taken your clothes off, like, you know, detoxing your body a little bit, your emotions a little bit, in your mind a little bit, it would be easier to dive into the water. And if you had done some breath before diving, or, you know, some fire breath, it would even be much easier, because you would have the capacity to warm your body regardless of the temperature. And you can stay in the water even if ice cold. It's the same with the process. You know, if you jump into the process with all your layers on, it's gonna hurt. You know, it's gonna be painful. Not this process. This is the mild one. This is the pampering one. This is the one that organically moves you through and give the shedding the layers, and it's also giving you the methods to keep up with it at home after we finish. But if you jump into a harsher one, you know, and you still have the layers on, it's hurting, and you know it. Most of you watch because you've been in processes like this, and it's hurting through the process because you have a lot to shed, and the body has pains, or it has discomfort, or it dreams of all these foods, or this and that, and it hurts after because you can't stabilize and you can stick with what you've experienced, you know, the pranic state, or being food without food. And it hurts after because you're wondering yourself, why am I still needing food? Why am I still thinking of it? Why? Whereas the opposite of this is when you have shed most of your layers, and have done your practice at home, and you've done your cleansing and your detox that I was talking about yesterday, and yes, you jump into a process, it cleanses you even more, so it's no longer that ice cold water. You know, your body can easily adapt your temperature even. And after you get out of it, if you still continue to practice, you can even stabilize and integrate. So that would be the natural, organic, harmonious way to be. Like, for my example, what happened was that in 22, I don't remember time. Let's see. In 10 years ago, let's start like this. 10 years ago, I started to meditate again. I meditated for 3 years, from 2009 to 2013. I meditated for 4 years and done a lot of detox and practiced daily yoga or qigong. And after a whole year of deep detox at the physical, emotional, and mental level, so 4 years, but the last year, 2012, was very deep detox. Like, I was just eating a few 4 cereals, water and salt, and maybe sometimes carrot, or very little, carrot. That's all I could eat. And prayer every day, meditation every day, yoga every day, qigong every day, a lot of detox, also colonics and the sour cabbage thing that I told you yesterday. After this year, that was 2012, in the length of 2012, I felt I could not eat any dairy product. I could not take anything that I was taking before this detox year. So I moved into veganism. And I had very little light food for another 3 months. And then I went into the dark room. Dark room means 10 days with no food, no light, and constant meditation or constant practice. So no light, because it enhances the pineal and the DMT, and you start getting more into the visions and the deep dive within. No food, so that the digestive system is completely uncluttered, and constant practice. That has been my transition point, so to speak. I wasn't going in there to be pranic. I wasn't even thinking of being in, getting out of there and not eating anymore. I've met Jasmine 4 years before the dark room, and every year I've been in her conferences. Never have I aimed to be on prana. I was just aiming to be aligned with source, and I was practicing the practice is the pranic practices, but just for source connection. I wasn't interested in anything else, and I still am not. And I went into the dark room with the same um, for the same purpose. Oh, like let's have a rest from external stimuli for 10 days and dive deeper. That was my only aim. When I get out of there, I was a little skinnier, to say the truth, because it was the first time when I wasn't eating anything for 10 days. But also I was aware of my multidimensional nature, which was above and beyond any looks or any aspects or anything like that. I tasted some vegan stuff when I got out, because I was in a very beautiful place with a very beautiful organic restaurant in Thailand. And after I got back home, where I withdrawn again, in a few days I withdrawn again from society and I went back home, I went naturally on prana. Without aiming for it, without wanting it, I couldn't eat. And I couldn't eat 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, 30 days, 40 days maybe. I was some days taking a glass of juice, either apple or carrot, but sometimes half a glass, sometimes 1 glass. Some days I couldn't eat, or I couldn't take juice or water, because my neck wasn't tolerating anything. So everything I would try to drink would hurt or feel heavy. I can't explain. It was not really pain, but it would constrict, and the whole digestive would contract. It wouldn't be possible. So in those days, it was only Amrita that could flow through, and it was perfect. And I was in the state of super flow, and I was still working, still going to roller skates, still going to long walks, still having events with 300 people that were eating omnivorous food. I was organizing the events, but not able to eat, and I wasn't setting a goal for myself to not eat for another 10 days or so. I was just naturally waking up and not feeling to take anything. So to me, that's the natural pranic state. When your body naturally doesn't want and doesn't crave and doesn't think. One day I tried to take physical food, not because I was feeling hungry, not because I was wanting to, but because I was having pressure from somebody that was monitoring my chakras, that was saying that he doesn't, he wasn't used to this type of system, because people don't have this type of system around him. And he was saying that it's unnatural and it doesn't look normal and I should eat and this and that. So I said, okay, I will try. Because I was not aiming at anything, I made something and I tasted one tomato from that thing that was vegan. And I crawled on the floor for the next few hours because my body was in extreme pain. So I prayed. That was the only thing I could do until the pain has disappeared. So I went and shove it all away, and then my body could finally relax from that pain. And I remember that night, it was the first night that I was so grateful, like literally very grateful, that I have a body that is functioning normally without pain after having had this amount of turmoil. So naturally it happened, and naturally when I had to get back into a more common state, I don't know the reason, I don't inquire why, I started to take again small amounts of vegan food, very small, back then in 2013. And that was my transition back to normal life at that time. Also natural, without having any guilt, without having any problems in my body of, if I would try to eat more than I was guided, I would get bloated, of course, back then. And that's how I learned my rhythm. And from then on, whenever this state is kicking back naturally, because it is kicking back totally naturally to me, my body just encompasses it completely naturally. I don't have to do anything. I don't put myself through dry fast or through any type of I do detox constantly, even to this day, because it's necessary, because I travel through many countries, and even if I don't eat from these countries, I know that for example, the parasites you can take from water, or from not washing your hands all the time, or even it's good to be doing a parasite cleanse at least twice a year. It's good to be doing a colon cleanse. I do it quite often, and so on. Even if you're only on juices, it's still good. It still feels great, and I still do it, and I detox whenever I feel so. And naturally my body anyway detoxes, through the days that I only have prana circulating. But if I choose to take anything like juices or smoothies or some olives I'm still eating, or sometimes cashews or almonds, like that, it just feels when it's cluttered. And I drink sauerkraut juice or aloe vera juice, and it's all going out and it's all clean after that. So naturally, all natural. I don't force myself into anything, I don't push myself into anything, and I don't feel guilty for anything in this frame. Nowadays, more than ever, I feel to do everything liquid. It's much better for me, and it's much easier also. And my Easter cooking, everybody cooks on Easter, and we're just celebrating now in Romania. It's the third day of Easter. My Easter cooking on Sunday was a mix of pineapple, strawberry, and ginger that I've diluted, and was like a cup like this, and I've diluted it and drank it throughout the day. And another smoothie of some green leaves with sauerkraut juice. Oh, yeah, sauerkraut juice that I've also diluted, and some of it I had it in the next day as well. I couldn't drink the whole cup. That was my breakfast, lunch, and dinner for Easter, and it was more than enough. And I didn't miss the Easter cookies or the Easter foods or the Easter traditions. I don't, care about that. And I met my neighbors, and we all talked about what each one has prepared at home, and so on and so forth. But I'm good. I like it. I am enjoying it. One of my neighbors has brought me some cookie that was homemade. I tasted a little bit the next day. I still have the whole cookie in my uh, kitchen closet. If ever I would feel to eat it, I would try, but at the moment I don't feel to. So that's a natural state. I hope you resonate with it. I'm just telling what is and how natural it can be, because I know you're expecting, you, some people are expecting that a pranic person never does these things, or never does a smoothie or a blended thing, or ever takes only teas or water. But I'm telling you the truth so that you know that in this state you can still be harmonious and you can still be yourself. And I'm doing 5 or 6 pranic projects per year with hundreds and thousands of people. I'm feeling blissful every day, most of the days. I'm having ideas running through my body, coming from source all the time. We're good. Like, this is a good state to be in, and it's also feels like freedom, because I put no pressure on myself. I'm just telling you the story, and but also transmissioning the state of how it feels and what it is to feel free. And that's the most important thing, beyond any stories and beyond any words. So if you have any questions, please feel free to ask in the comments. The Facebook thing is ending now. For those of you who watched and liked it, we are continuing tonight with a beautiful meditation and some more very precious tools for pranic nourishment and for pranic state. For those of you who want to be with us for the whole 8 days, check the link in the comments or in the description of the video and join in. I am now going to take care I am now going to take care of my participants who are on Zoom and YouTube, because they are deserving and needing my full attention at the moment, and we need to go deeper into this communion and learning about prana. So your link is, just a second, I'm going to place it in the comments before I get out. Is there anyone wanting to add or ask anything on Facebook or on YouTube? Do you have any comments, questions, additional things to say? Let me know if you do. In the meantime, I'm sending you big hugs of love. Those of you who watch on Facebook, hope to see you join us for the full thing and meet me every day and meditate with me very, very deeply. And please know that if you're having any troubles with payments and money issues and this and that, because it does imply an energy exchange in money to participate to the whole thing, and you have the details in the comments. If that is the case, we can arrange multiple payments or something that works for you so that you can be with us. And with that being said, big love to you.